Let's do something with Audacity. All right, so Audacity is an audio editing software. Uh, what we're going to do today is a little bit of trimming, normalizing, and exporting. So first thing we need to do is get an audio file, right? If you've got one, great. If you want something, I've got some links here. This is the UTM archives, and we've just got them. You go start with the year, find a year, then dig around. I went to 1966. Here's a recording that was transferred from an old reel-to-reel tape, digitized, and then downloaded it. Uh, I've got it here already on my desktop. So now I'm going to go open up Audacity, and we're going to take the audio and pull it in there. Now, whenever you open a program, it focuses in front, so you just bring your other window back to the front. The easiest thing to do, drag it in there. If you want to use hotkeys or go through menus, it's File, Import, Audio, or Control Shift I. If you're on a Mac, it would be, I think, Command Shift I. But otherwise, everything's going to work the same if you're on Mac. Now, first thing you might want to notice is that you can expand this. It makes it a lot easier. You just grab the bottom. Oops, there we go. And you can resize it. Now, I'm on my selection tool, so that if I click somewhere, that's where it puts my cursor. So I'm just clicking around. And over here on the left-hand side, this is the way in which the waveform is displayed. So right now it's linear. It's talking about your amplitude. I want to look at it in decibels. Just makes it easier to look at right now. So in decibel view, I just right-click, pick whatever I want. This first song I want to get is probably somewhere in here. So I'm going to check. I'm putting my cursor there. I'm hitting spacebar. All right, so I can tell that's where I want to go. I am holding down Control, and I'm using my scroll wheel to zoom in. This helps me fine tune. I'm hitting my spacebar. Okay. You can see, and here, you're hearing through my microphone, but you really can see how old that tape was and how poor the transfer was. So I've basically found where I want the end of my recording to be. I'm going to zoom back out so I can see the entirety of the piece. I'm holding down my shift and clicking over to the right beyond the extent of the waveform file. And then here I'm just going to hit delete. You could hit Control X or Command X on a Mac. Either way, all we're doing is deleting all that audio. So great. Now we've got everything cut out of there, so we're not working with a massive file. I want to go back to the beginning. I'm scrolling in and out. I can use these hotkeys up here. I like to use these buttons in the menu up here. I prefer to use hotkeys, so I never have to like dig around through these menus. It just makes everything faster. The tool that I'm using again right now is the selection tool. There's the space bar to start and stop. I'm going to go back to the beginning of it. If I go up here, that ensures that I'm at the very beginning. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff I don't need. I'm just going to select. Now I'm just dragging over all of that and selecting it. Hit delete. And now when I hit spacebar, it's a lot quicker startup. I could probably take out more of that. But what I'm going to do is get a little bit more of that deleted. And then I'm going to find where they just start. That's pretty good. I'm going to select all of this part. And if you want to do this just to tidy it up a little bit, I like to do a fade in. So I'm going to my effect, go down to fade in, and now it starts from absolute silence. That way you can avoid any like clicks or anything by starting in the middle of a waveform. Okay. Now this isn't the greatest recording or transfer, so you might have a better recording to work with. And now I think it's kind of nice to get the applause at the end. That's just a aesthetic choice, I guess. So I'm going to select this last bit of the song, and again, effect, fade out, and that's all it's going to do is just taper it down. Kind of a nice professional way to end it. Now this waveform looks pretty big right now, but when we're talking about logarithmic functions, this is not really anywhere near as loud as it could be. You can see we're not even hitting 20 decibels. So what do I want to do? I want to make it all louder. How much louder? Without getting too deep into anything right now, there's a very common practice called normalizing. You go up to your effects, you go to normalize, and what this is going to do is sample the entire, it's going to look over the entire waveform and find where is the highest peak. And it's like, okay, we're going to turn everything up until that highest peak hits a certain point. What is that point? Well, we're going to say it's at negative 0.3 decibels. That if you can go to 0, but that will not account for intersampling distortion. So what I like to do is set it about 0.3, and that's a good safe place to land where you don't have to worry about that distortion. Play around with it, see what you think. But when I apply this, here's what's going to happen. Boom, it made everything louder, right? But nothing's going to clip, and that's the key part. I haven't compressed it. I haven't done any affectations other than just simply turn it up as loud as it can go before getting too loud. There we go. So now, huzzah, the audio file is exactly how I like it. I've trimmed it. I've tapered at the ends, given a little zhuzh, and then I've normalized it. And then we've got this already. No one else can hear it, so we have to export it, right, in order to share it with anybody. So what we're going to do is go to File, and then go to our Export Audio, and then you pick what format you want it to go. WAV is the most ubiquitous, but MP3 is pretty common. Now, I will say if you've just installed Audacity and you choose MP3, you will need to install your FFmpeg drivers. They're free and open source, but they don't come with the software owing to distribution regulations. So you just go get your FFmpeg, download it, install it, and you can also work with MP3s, importing and exporting. I'm going to stick with WAV right now. I'm going to keep my sampling rate here at 24 bits, but again, play around with these. I would advise never going below 44.1 kilohertz or below 16 bits. When everything's to your liking, you give it a name, destination, and then you just export it and you get that file, and then you can do with it what you will. This is a wonderful method for dealing with a whole batch of files, especially when you've got a whole bunch to do, or just one file. But I hope that makes sense, and yeah, we'll talk about it some more.